is re-victimizing Alex again by spreading false information as some smokescreen or justification for his own actions. The fact is that Filson and Cleveland don't get it, and they're not going to get it until the school district sends a clear message to them, fires them. And that's what it's going to take. The fact of the matter is they're teachers that haven't learned a lesson. And actions speak louder than words. And the only action that can be done that really can teach these teachers the lesson that needs to be learned, that discrimination is illegal and harassment is wrong, is to terminate them from a position where they can repeat the misdeeds they seem to continue to want to continue to this day.
Jody, have you considered any further legal action or any other steps that you might take? Or
I'll leave it up to my attorney.
Well, look, we haven't really formulated a plan. Today we're reacting to what we read in the paper today about Filson's comments. Jody and Alex have wanted to put this behind them, move on with their lives. They never asked for this to be dredged back up. And frankly, I'm looking at the comments that Filson has made in particular. I consider them to be false. I consider them to be defamatory. I consider them to be slanderous. And I consider them to be actionable. The question is it really worth it to this family to do anything further? The fact of the matter is Alex is in the military. Jody's got a job and a family to raise, and we want them to be able to continue with their life without having Filson and his history intrude upon them any further. So we want the school district to act on this.
Which comments do you consider defamatory in action?
That this has something to do with, or suggesting even that it has something to do with him having a gun. He never had a gun. He never brought a gun, and it had nothing to do with it.
Filson's not quoted in the story as saying.
Well, Filson not only denies that he engaged in the conduct that he was found to have engaged in, that resulted in a finding of probable cause and a settlement where he was supposed to have been trained. He's now suggesting that he's the victim, and when in fact he is the victimizer and he is the offender.
But I just want to be clear, though. I mean, Filson in the article doesn't say anything about the gun. I mean, that comes from the other students.
I might clarify, though, that the article, that Filson's attorney is speaking for his client.
And
when
he
he
was
said
at
that.
Because they learned that comes from that's good.
Well, then, does that matter?
Well, yeah. Being serious.
The defamation is there.
Well,
Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, I'm having kind of trouble following the logical train here. We talk about Alex being a courageous young man and speaking up because he didn't want this to happen to anyone else. Yet, when his mother speaks, she talks about how she wanted him to say something. He complained that he would just get in more trouble. So, how does he go from someone who's not wanting to report this to a courageous young man who doesn't want this to happen to anyone else? What's the logical?
Yeah. First, I want you to tell Jody, speak into the camera and answer the question: how is it that how do you respond to the question of whether or not Alex is courageous in speaking up and out regarding what happened to him?
First, I'd like to ask this gentleman what his name was.
Well, we spoke to David Hans.
Okay, David. Have you ever heard of peer pressure before? Have you ever heard about teachers are an authority and a child is a child? And peer pressure does a lot.
You tell me.
I am telling you.
Okay.
Peer pressure does a lot. And if you're scared to walk in that classroom every day because you know what's coming to you,
All right.
fear does a lot. And fear will hold any victim against. Fear will just do so much.
Okay, so how does he go from the peer pressure and the fear?
Because I had enough. It was wrong. The district did not stand up, and I told Alex, we're done. This is it. We're going in. He didn't want to, but when he found out about the stomping foot, he knew how serious it was.
And Alex Merritt is a courageous young man. Every day he was subjected to some comments that were inappropriate and illegal. And he'd tell his mom about it. And she encouraged him to do something, but he didn't want to because he didn't want to get teased further. Finally, it got so bad he did report it to the school district. And then the conduct by the teachers escalated. And the conduct by the students escalated. And Alex then had the courage to take further action and retain a lawyer and go to the Department of Human Rights that led to the investigation. So it was the courage of Alex as a student with the support of his mom that brought this conduct to the fore, and in fact has perhaps protected other students whose names we'll never have to know about or represent because of his courage. So we applaud him, and we applaud you, and we thank you for supporting Alex in this journey. It's been difficult and painful, but it sounds like he's in active duty. And
yeah. I'd just like to say, too, if those teachers thought it was funny on a daily basis to harass and have all the other kids, all his peers laugh all the time, it wasn't funny to Alex, and it wasn't funny to me as his mom, and it wasn't funny to any of the other parents in the district. A lot of parents came forward. They didn't find it funny either, and Alex just wanted to stand up for that one child that could have been, or another child that was being harassed also. Alex is right by the book. He goes with the law, and he's just goes by the book. And so for him to stand up, he's that type of kid that he will stand up for himself. But in the beginning, he didn't want to because he was afraid it was only going to create more problems. And he just wanted to be done with the year.
And in my view, Alex Merritt is courageous. Walter Filson, that harassed him, is a bully and a coward.
They both are.
Jody, I have a question about the students that wrote the letter supporting Mr. Filson, the ones that brought up the gun story. Are these friends of Alex's, or do you know, do you have any?
Never heard of it before. Never heard of any of them.
Okay.
In the investigation materials that we have, there's copies there. There's a vague reference in there that says that one kid in a group of 8 kids said that it may have something to do with a gun, and that was reported to Cleveland, who made some reference to it. But that's all it is, some vague reference. Hearsay on hearsay on hearsay. So it really isn't in the case and never should have been brought up at this point in time either.
So you don't have any theory about why they would have come forward with this story then? No.
Might have been friends with Filson, I don't know, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, and Alex was not a kid that ever had a gun at school or anything like that. In fact, Alex is a kid that never even got in trouble at school. He's a good student. He was in an accelerated program, and he never had a disciplinary problem.
Never. Not once.
He was a straight kid who didn't deserve to have something like this happen to him. And
Alex is the type of kid that was late for Christmas, this last Christmas, and I asked him why he was late. And he said, because someone was stuck in the ditch. And I said, but we got, Christmas dinner. And he said, Mom, they had a place to go to too. And they had little kids in the car. So he took his truck and pulled these kids and parents out the ditch. So that's what kind of person Alex is. He stops by the road and helps everybody.
so on behalf of some of those other kids that maybe things like this won't happen to because of him, thanks, Alex.
Real quickly, it sounds like it's Cleveland's attorney who kind of brought all this up. But it seems like you're focusing mostly on Filson. Why is that?
Well, it appears to us to be both Filson and Cleveland that are making the comments and or bringing it up, and it appears to us that it's coming through their lawyer as well. And I can't discern exactly where the source is, but it's both of them claiming to have been the victims when in fact they're the offenders, and that's what makes it so wrong.